Hi guys, how are you?
Morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. You guys have class today, school?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. What time?
8:30, sir.
Cool, cool, cool. Then let's just begin class, okay? Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, uh, guys, you have any doubts from last class? You guys have any doubts from last class? Okay, my next question. How many of you practiced the problems we did in the class?
Sir, I just went through it, sir.
Okay, okay, that counts as half practicing. Okay, it doesn't count as a full practice, but you just look through it to understand the topics. That's fine. But make sure you try the problems again on your own to check what all you understood. Hmm. And then you will make mistakes there. So then you correct, you'll understand, okay, this is not what you were saying in the class. This is what he meant in the class. Like you have to make mistakes and then find out, all right, what the difference is between what you understood and what I said. Okay. So please start practicing. So whenever I solve some problems, look, I'm taking very minimal number of problems in a class. Okay, so please start practicing. Hmm. All right. Practice that. Then, if you're not able to follow it fully, it's okay. Start with NCRT then. Okay, that's when you know, okay, you'll have to go to the basics first again. Go through the NCRT. I'm sure you'll be able to understand. If you're not able to understand, please ask me those doubts. Okay, mark them. Okay. All right. So, let's begin the class. The question is find the domain and range. Okay. Domain of f and range of f. Of what function? Y equal to log to the base e 3x square minus 4x plus 5. Okay. Find the domain and the range. How do you find the domain? Let's do that quickly. You guys only tell me. What should we do?
3x squared minus 4x plus 5 greater than 0.
3x square minus 4x plus 5 is greater than 0. Should be positive. Basically, this quantity here, the log should be positive. This should also be positive and not equal to 1. But e is equal to 2.718, so it's the same. All right. So let's go for this part. 3x square minus 4x plus 5 greater than or equal to 0. Now, how do we deal with the situation? How do we check this? Guys,
Sir, we just factorized it, sir.
Factorizes.
how do you factorize this?
Sir, or use minus b plus 1 minus.
No?
Sir, use minus b plus 1 minus b square.
Okay, 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 okay. Sridharacharya formula. Okay, correct, correct, correct. Hmm. Right. It's called Sridharacharya formula if you didn't know, or famously known as quadratic formula. So we can use either of these. Yes. But here, let's start with finding d. Whenever you get a quadratic, okay, even in 10th, you must have followed this. Whenever you get a quadratic, what you do is you generally find d first, okay, discriminant. There's a reason you did that. There is actually a reason you did that. It actually makes sense to do that. Whenever you get a quadratic, check the value of d. D is b square minus 4ac. 16 minus 60. All right, that becomes 44, huh? Minus 44. Okay. So d here is minus 44. This is
No
actually
real root.
irrelevant. D is less than 0. That's the idea here. Okay. You don't need to find it here. Just find out that it's less than 0. Stop calculating. Okay. Once you see that d is less than 0, what can you say here?
No real roots.
Exactly. There won't be any real roots. This is an upward facing parabola. This will always be above the x-axis. Okay. All right. So this graph will always be above the x-axis, meaning this graph is always greater than 0. Okay. the value of 3x square minus 4x plus 5 will always be positive. Okay. Do you know how to find the minimum value here? Minimum value?
So differentiate equal to 0.
Differentiate equal to 0 is the way. But if you remember this, minus b by 2a minus d by 4a, you're sorted. That will be this point, okay? This point I marked here will be minus b by 2a minus d by 4a. Got it? Hmm? Okay, what otherwise you can do is you can differentiate equated to 0. For that, what you'll need to do is 3x square, you'll differentiate, you'll get 6x minus 4 and equate it to 0. Why are we equating to 0? Because at that point, the slope will be 0. Okay. Guys, are you understanding this technique here? When I differentiate and equate it to 0?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, x will be equal to 2 by 3. And then the problem is, you'll have to put the value 2 by 3 into this equation again. Okay. So, there are two steps here. Okay. Here, what I did was, I found d. D is minus 44. And then what do? I look for minus d by 4a to find its minimum value. Minus d by 4a is 44 by 4 into 3. So you'll get 11 by 3. Alright. So quickly you'll get the minimum value. So here to find the point, this is perfect actually. This technique works also. Perfect it is. Alright. Now, d is equal to 11 by 3 again was irrelevant. Alright. I just wanted to check if you guys knew what this is. If you didn't know, please note the formula down or this technique down. Either will work. Okay, it's best if you know both. And then hopefully you'll have enough practice before the exam hall to decide which one is better for you. Okay, that's the reason you practice. You keep practicing again and again. You will get the flow, which is your method, which is the method you are comfortable with. All right. So anyway, let's get to the domain. Now, what is the domain? How do we find the domain here, guys? Come on. Guys, how do we find the domain?
Sir,
To find the domain. Sorry?
Greater than 2 by 3.
Greater than 2 by 3. It's not required. Look, the idea here is, look, listen, okay? At the value 2 by 3, when x is equal to 2 by 3, this takes the value 11 by 3. Okay, the function takes the value 11 by 3. That's the minimum. Everywhere else, it will be greater than 11 by 3. Is that clear? This much?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the context. Okay, so what are we checking? What values of x gives me 3x square minus 4x plus 5 greater than 0, right? That's what we are checking. What values of x gives me that value greater than 0? What values of x makes this quadratic greater than 0? Guys, the idea is any value of x. Okay, once I get the d is less than 0, it means the graph lies above the x-axis. So any value of x, you put the value of 3x square minus 4x plus 5 will be greater than 0. Okay, got this?
Yes, sir.
All right, any doubts here, guys? Any doubts here? So here the domain, what will the domain be? Any real number. Okay, that's all. All right, now okay, let's move ahead. Okay, we forgot to find the range, right?
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
Range
So what do we do here? What do we do here? Y is equal to what is the function here?
11 by 3 and to infinity.
Okay, you're getting 11 by 3 to infinity.
I just looked at the graph, sir.
You know, you're very close to the answer. You're just one silly mistake away from the answer. That's it. Okay. One silly error was there, but you did the smartest thing possible right now. Okay. So this 3x square minus 4x plus 5 is there, right? So when you draw the graph, Guys, listen, she made a very good point here. You should notice that this goes from 11 by 3, which we found, till infinity. Okay, we are checking for the values log of this quadratic can take. This quadratic takes values from 11 by 3 to infinity. So this value, y takes values from log of 11 by 3 to log of infinity, which will become infinity. Okay, so this is how it goes. All right, so this is how you get the range directly. Okay, what I wanted you to do otherwise was, okay, all right, guys, you got this method? How this worked?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Range is nothing but the set of y values you get from the function. Okay, now this inner function, quadratic, will take values, the y values from 11 by 3 all the way till infinity. Now the idea is that for any value of x, this is true. You will get values only from 11 by 3 to infinity. Now that is the value of the quadratic, and that is inputted to log. Okay, this is given to log as an input, and that is the value of y we are interested in. That is the range we are looking for. Okay, range of this quadratic will be 11 by 3 to infinity. Range of this function will be log of 11 by 3 to log of infinity, which comes out to infinity. Got this? Guys, did you get this? Any doubts here?
Got it, sir.
Got it. All right. So the method I wanted you to do was, okay. So I told you about range, right? What were the 3 points about range? Can one of you tell me? What were the 3 points I mentioned about range in the last class? Not this class, last class. I mentioned 3 points about range. Guys, are you maintaining notes properly?
Sir, if the domain belongs to R, then the range we need to express x in terms of y.
Exactly. Okay. So domain. So this is the second point, right? Your domain is R or R minus some finite points. Then we express x in terms of y. Okay. What do we do here? Okay, what do we do here? We have y equal to this. All right. What is e power y? I'm going to raise both sides as powers of e. Okay. E power log base e 3x square minus 4x plus 5. What do I do here for the RHS?
3x square minus 4x plus 5.
This is nothing but 3x square minus 4x plus 5. Look, this and this are the same. It's equivalent to writing this. All right. This is one property of log that we learned before. Guys, are you following? Like, if you have x raised to log y to the base x, I write log y to the base x as m. From here, I get that y is equal to x power m. Okay. So when I do log x raised to log y base x, this log y base x is nothing but m here. It's nothing but x power m. And from here, I can say that this is nothing but y here. So x power log y base x will be y itself. Guys, this is one important property that I taught you last time. So please recollect that and apply that here. That's the reason I took e raised to whatever it is. Because I noticed in the log, the base was e. Okay. Then, guys, any doubts here, please stop me. Right. So e power y is equal to 3x square minus 4x plus 5. But my task was to express x in terms of y. How do I do that? How do I go about that? I will rewrite this quadratic. 3x square minus 4x plus 5 minus e power y equal to 0. What do I have here now? It's a quadratic where I'm taking e power y into the constant term. Okay. I don't know the value of y. I'm trying to find out. That's the idea. Here, what will x be? 4 plus or minus root b square minus 4 a c. by 2a. Guys, any doubts here?
No, sir. Correct.
Nothing? No doubts? All right. So then you have to notice that whatever is inside the root. Look, for x to exist like this, this is me expressing x in terms of y. Okay. For x to exist like this, for x to be expressed in terms of y, what is the condition here? Inside the root, whatever is there should be positive, greater than or equal to 0. Okay, 4 into 3, I will write that as 12. Okay, 12 into 5 minus e power y. And this should be non-negative, greater than or equal to 0. Then from here I get 4 minus 3 into 5 is 15. 3 into e power y will be 3 e power y greater than or equal to 0. 3 e power y greater than or equal to 11. E power y greater than or equal to 11 by 3. Guys, are you following what I am saying here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what will y be? I take log to the base e on both the sides. Okay. So, log to the base e power y. E power what is e power y? E power y is e power y. Okay. So, then this becomes y greater than or equal to log 11 by 3. So, from here you get log 11 by 3 all the way till infinity. Any doubts here, guys? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay, look at the next question. Find the range of y is equal to x minus 1 plus 5 minus x. So guys, this problem, right? The previous problem, we can try another approach. Okay, the previous problem, we see that, we keep this aside for now, y is equal to log of 3x square minus 4x plus 8. So, look at the third property I gave for range. Look at the third property I gave for range. Come on. What is the third property I gave for the range part?
If domain belongs to finite interval, find least and greatest value using monotonicity.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Find the least and greatest value, finding monotonicity, and I did not explain that point. All right. Monotonicity is when a function has a single tone. Okay. It's always increasing. It's always decreasing. Okay. That is what monotonicity means. Okay. Now, how do you find if a function is monotonically increasing? How do you find that? Like you have e power x, okay, as a function given to you. All right. So, how do you find if y equal to e power x is an increasing function always? You know, e power x graph is like this. Okay. You know by looking at the graph that it is always increasing. It's never decreasing. Okay. Whenever you go in the positive x direction, this always goes upwards. Any doubts here for the context y equal to e power x? I'll assume there are no doubts. Okay. So, y is equal to e power x as is an increasing function. Now, how do I figure it out? To figure it out, I'll simply differentiate dy by dx. That's what I'm finding. Dy means change in y with respect to change in x. Dy by dx. Difference in y, difference in x. Okay. If this is always positive, it means it's strictly increasing. Okay. It means that from y2 to y1, x2 to x1, like that, x2 to x1, y2 to y1. So how do you find this? y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. If this and this are of the same sign, it means that they are increasing. Are you following? X2, I'll by default imagine it to be ahead of X1. Okay, so that's why Y2 should be greater than Y1 if this is supposed to be positive. Okay, supposed to be positive. All right. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you have Y2 minus Y1 by X2 minus X1 greater than 0, it means that the slope is positive. Okay, slope is positive means that you can see the shape of the graph, right? When the slope is positive, you get it like this, which means it's an increasing function. From X2 to X1, you can see that the slope was like this. So the graph actually increases in value. Are you following this?
Yes, sir.
Guys, any doubts here? Whenever I get dy by dx greater than 0, suppose I get it for all the values in the domain. For all the values of x, dy by dx will be greater than 0. It means the function is always increasing. That's the only meaning here. Got it? Okay. So you have y equal to e power x. I'll differentiate this dy by dx. What will I get? I'll still get e power x. But I know that e power x will always be greater than 0. Got it? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. So dy by dx will always be greater than 0. All right. So that means that this y function f of x, e power x, is an ever increasing function. It's always increasing. Okay. What does the third point say? If x is within a specific domain, like specific set of values, okay, within this particular range of values, you check for that function for those particular range of values. Okay, for those values of x, you check if dy by dx is positive or negative. Okay, if it is always positive, it is monotonically increasing. If it is always negative, it is monotonically decreasing. Are you following this much? Okay, if a function has a dy by dx always positive, it means it will increase at least in a small way or in a big way. If I get a function with dy by dx always negative, for the particular values of x I'm searching for the within the particular range of values I'm searching for, if it's always negative, that's why this is useful. You can break it down into regions and check. Okay, so when it's always negative, what happens? Either it decreases very slowly or it decreases very fast. Okay, either of these ways you can see the slope at each of these points. Okay, will be negative. Here it's slightly negative, here it's more negative. Okay, are you following? Here, what is happening? Here it's slightly positive, here it's more positive. Guys, are you understanding or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this much is okay. This is an increasing function. This is a decreasing function. All right, because of the slopes. Now, the idea here is if it is an increasing function. Okay, suppose the function. Okay, I have some weird looking function like this. Okay, and I notice that between x1 and x2 is where I care about. My question is a function y equal to f of x, where x is between x1 and x2. Okay, all right, we'll be applying monotonicity here. So between x1 and x2, what can you say about the function?
Increasing.
It is increasing. Okay, we did a dy. Suppose we did one dy by dx. We found that it is always positive. Or we drew the graph. We saw that it's increasing. Either way, we see that between an x1 and x2, this is always positive. Okay, the slope will always be positive, which means it's an increasing function. Okay, what can you say about the range here? Range of the function. Like we'll be omitting the parts between, like beyond x1 and x2. We'll be looking only at this part. Okay, guys, I want your attention here. Okay, we'll be looking only at this part. Okay, because that's what the question is asking. Between x1 and x2, what is the range? Okay, so how do you find the range? How do you find the range here, guys? This is very interesting, okay? So when I say y equal to f of x, I'll be passing x1 through it. So y at x equal to x1 will be f of x1. Y at x equal to x2 will be f of x2. This is obvious, right? Guys, any doubts here? Guys, any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. So the range here will be f of x1, comma f of x2. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
You can see that the function is ever increasing. So it starts from a small value, ends at a big value. So the range will cover all the values in between also. Understand? Understanding this? It's a continuous function. Okay, between x1 and x2, and it's always increasing. So I just need to find the largest value, which will be the last value, and the smallest value, which will be the first value. Are you getting this? This is how I find using monotonicity. Guys, this monotonicity comes in application of derivatives much later. All right. All right. So, but you can use monotonicity right now because you got the idea. You already know what differentiation is. I told you how to apply differentiation here. Are you guys getting the concept here? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Don't forget, guys. So it's x1 and x2. When this range here between x1 and x2, you have the function to be ever increasing or ever decreasing. So if it was a decreasing function, what will happen? It will be f of x2, comma f of x1. That will be a final answer. Why? When it's a decreasing function, the first value will be the largest, the last value will be the smallest. Got this? Any doubts here? If the same function y equal to f of x was a decreasing function between x1 and x2, the first value, f of x1, will be the largest because it's decreasing from there. All other values will be smaller than that. Okay. And the last value will be x2. Right? There's no value beyond x2 I'm looking at because that will be the smallest. Okay. Got this? The smallest value will be f of x2. Sorry, not x2, f of x2. The largest value will be f of x1. Guys, you got this?
Yes, sir.
Or do you have any doubts? Please ask doubts. I'm expecting you guys to have doubts, but nobody wants another explanation. So it's smooth, I guess. Okay, let's move on to our next question then. Y is equal to root of x minus 1 plus 5 minus 6. Okay. What do we do here? Differentiate. Okay, first find the domain. First, to find the range, always find the domain. Okay, guys, got it? To find the range, always find the domain. What's the domain here? Look at this
1
and
to
tell me
5.
what is the domain? Exactly. From 1 to 5. The rest of you, did you understand how we got 1 to 5?
Yes, sir.
First part is mod of x minus 1. Okay. So x minus 1, which is inside the not mod, sorry, root of x minus 1. X minus 1, which is inside the root, should be greater than 0. It means x is greater than 1. Second part is 5 minus x should also be greater than 0. This is the second part. So I'll get that x is less than 5. X should be greater than 1 and x should be less than 5 at the same time for this to be valid. Okay. Then x is between 1 and 5. This is how you find the domain. Okay. Now the range. Can you guys help out? We do here.
Sir, isn't it open bracket?
No. It will be closed bracket because I can put 1 here.
So it's greater
This
than
will
equal
become
to
0. Sorry. It will be greater than or equal to 0. My bad. It will be greater than or equal to 0. That's why this comes out to close bracket 1 comma 5. Thank you for noting that. Great. I was actually correct. What you said. It will be greater than or equal to 0. That's why we're getting 1 comma 5. Okay. So how do we apply monotonicity here? Let's try that one. I'll only consider values where x is between 1 and 5. Okay. That is a cheap trick here. 0, this will be 1, and this will be 5. So between 1 and 5, that's all I'm considering. Now, what do I do here? We'll have to figure that out. What's the first thing for checking monotonicity once we found the domain? Differentiate. Okay. Root of x minus 1. If I differentiate, what will I get? Okay, 1 by 2 root x minus 1. Guys, do you know how we get this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay, what about root of 5 minus x?
Minus
1
1
by
Minus 1 by 2 to 5 minus
root
6.
5 minus x. And this 5 minus x should be differentiated again. We'll get this minus 1 here. Okay. Now, is this positive? Is this negative? How do we know? Do we check this? If this is positive or this is negative, what do we check? First, look, first accept that we can't do much to check that here. Okay. All right, we can put values and check where it will happen between 1 and 5. You can put different values, 1.1, 1.3, 1.5, but that's tedious. Okay. Like if you're feeling tensed in an exam hall, go for that only. Okay, you will quickly get the idea of what that is. If you're looking for methods in an exam hall, don't do that. Methods you practice right now, there you implement, you execute. Okay, so this thing here, dy by dx, I don't know if it's positive or negative. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll break it down into regions. I will look for places where it is equal to 0. Okay, if I find a few places where it's equal to 0, I'll do something like wavy curve method. I know where it is positive, where it's negative, where it's positive. That's my idea. Got it? Was I talking too fast?
No, sir.
Could you repeat that?
I'll repeat it. It's okay. It's not an issue. So when I'm looking for dy by dx and I don't know whether it's positive or negative, looking at this graph, right? Looking at this equation, I have no clue. Can it be positive? Can it be negative? Until I put values inside for x. Okay, between 1 and 5. Okay, but that's very tedious. So instead, what I will do is I will equate this to 0. What am I doing? I'm trying to find places in between this where it will be 0. If it's not 0 anywhere, it means it will be continuously positive or continuously negative. If it is 0 somewhere, suppose it's 0 here, then here it will be positive, here it will be negative. Like we'll have to find that out. Okay. So if we find the place where it becomes 0, it will be convenient for us to break the 1,5 range into different parts and then check which is increasing, which is decreasing, what's the minimum, what's the maximum here, what's the minimum, what's the maximum here, like that. Did you get what I said here? If you didn't,
Yes,
it's
sir.
okay. We'll try it. Okay, we'll try it and then I'll explain what is happening. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm looking. Look, I don't know if it's positive. I don't know if it's negative. Let me at least find where it becomes 0. Okay, that's the approach number 1. Okay, so when I'm trying to find this equal to 0, I see that what 1 by root x minus 1 plus 1 by root 5 minus x is equal to 0. Not plus, it was minus here. Okay, so when I cross multiply, I get root x minus 1 is equal to root 5 minus x. Alright. So when I find dy by dx, I'll be looking for points inside 1 and 5, not at 1 and 5. So that's why I was able to cross multiply. So root x minus 1 equal to root 5 minus x. What can I do here? I know that x minus 1 has to be greater than equal to 0. 5 minus x should also be greater than equal to 0. So I'm going to write it like this. And then from here, I get that x is equal to 4 by 2, which is 2. Okay. So it means that at x equal to 2, dy by dx is equal to 0. Because that's what I'm checking.
Sir, it's 3, sir.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay, yeah, correct. This is 6. This becomes 3. All right. Okay, 5 minus 1. This is a very silly mistake. Sorry about that. Okay, so at 3, the slope becomes 0. Okay, slope of the graph becomes 0. So the idea is 1 by root x minus 1 minus 1 by root 5 minus x. 1 by 2 into this. This dy by dx is greater than 0 somewhere, will become 0 at 3 and less than 0 somewhere else. We'll have to find, okay, what happens here. Now, I'll take a value between 1 and 3. Suggest a value between 1 and 3. Suggest the easiest value between 1 and 3.
2.
Okay, put it there in that equation. Put it there in the equation. What do you get? 1 minus 1 by root 3. Right? Guys, are you getting it like this? And I put the value x equal to 2 here. You get this. Is this greater than 0, less than 0?
So less than.
Greater than 0.
Greater than. Okay. Take a value between 3 and 4. If you don't believe me, take a value between 3 and 5. Sorry, 3 and 5. We'll take the value 4. Okay. So then this function becomes 1 by 2 into 1 by root 3 minus 1 by
1.
1 second. Oh, yeah. I took 4 here. So 4 becomes 1 by 1. Yeah. So this is the opposite of this, like opposite in sign. All right. If this is greater than 0, this will be less than 0. Root 3 is 1.73. 1 by 1.73 will be less than 1, greater than 0. Okay. So then combining both of them, you will get a negative value here. What does that mean? Guys, when I got 3 equal to 0 means I divided this 1 to 5 range into 2 different parts, 1 to 3 and 3 to 5. Okay. And when I put a value between 1 and 3, I understood that the slope is positive here. When I put a value between 3 and 5, I understood that the slope is negative here. Are you following what I'm doing here? That 3, when I put dy by dx equal to 0, when I found those points, I found points to divide that area 1 to 5 into different regions. Okay. Each region will be monotonic. That's the idea. Okay. Are you getting this? Monotonic means that single tone. It's either always increasing or always decreasing. That way. Are you getting this or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's always increasing or fully decreasing always. All right. So between 1 to 3, what do you have? You know the function is increasing. And between 3 to 5, it will decrease. So we don't know where it is increasing from, to what it increases, and then from there, how much it decreases. Does it decrease beyond the starting point? Does it decrease not till there? Like all of these are questions we'll have to answer. But what we achieved here was we divided this into segments, segment A and segment B, which we can look at separately. Okay. All right. So segment A. Okay, I'm just writing over number of steps. Okay, segment A is from 1 to 3. I see that it is an increasing function. For an increasing function, we'll find f of 1, we'll find f of 3. What happens at f of 1? F of 1 is equal to
2.
Put the value 1 there.
2, sir.
2. Okay, guys. The function is root of x minus 1 plus root of 5 minus x, y equal to. So put the values into this. Okay, put the value 1 into this. F of 1 will become 2. F of 3 will become
2 root 2.
Yeah, it will become 2 root 2. So you can see between 1 and 3. Okay, so this is 1, this is 5, this will be 3. Between 1 and 3, this increases from 2 to 2 root 2. Okay, the function value increases from 2 to 2 root 2 in some curvy format. But the point is, the slope will always be positive. Okay, so I'll just roughly draw one graph like this. From 2 to 2 root 2, it increases. Now, till where does it decrease? How do I find that? I look at segment B.
5.
I know my segment B is decreasing. Okay. Now, I know segment B is from f of 3 to f of 5. Basically, from the values 3 to 5, segment B. 3 I already found. I don't need to find it again. If I put the value 3 into the same equation again, I'll get the same answer again. Okay, doing the same things and expecting different results is a sign of madness. Okay, now f of 5, what will f of 5 be? Put the value there. You get 2. Okay, root of 5 minus 1, which is root of 4, and then plus 0. Okay, so you can see that this increases from 2 to root 2 and decreases from 2 root 2 to 2. Okay, I'm just saying 2 root 2 to 2. But I hope it's making sense to all of you. From 2 root 2, it goes till the value 2 here. Okay, and it increased from 2 only till 2 root 2. You can see the function. You know the rough idea of how the function will look. Guys, before we started, did you know how to draw the graph of this? X minus 1 plus 5 minus x. Did you know this?
No, sir.
Without putting values,
No, sir.
like all the values separately. Now we know how to quickly draw a graph, right? When you find dy by dx equal to 0, you can separate it into different regions, and each region will be monotonic. Okay, so for 1 to 3 region, it will be increasing. 3 to 5 region, it will be decreasing. Okay, and because the slope was positive here and slope was negative here, then what did we do? We checked from where it increases to where it decreases to where. All right, so we can see that the maximum value is 2 root 2 and the minimum value is 2. So this will be the range of f. Okay, you just verify the answer. Yes, you see it. Okay, you got this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Was it very tough or easy or decent? Okay. Now let's move on to. Okay, guys, you know how to find range, right? You will do other problems on your own.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please practice range problems. Okay, now we'll move on to odd functions and even functions. Okay. Odd function. Okay, guys, you know what odd and even function is? One question and then use that to explain. Is an even function. X of x equal to f of plus 1 by x plus 2. Okay. So, guys, first, what is an odd function? What is an even function? Suppose I have a graph like this. Then this will be an odd function. What is the peculiarity here? If I take any f of minus x, this will be same as f of x into minus 1. Okay, minus of f of x. This is an odd function. Basically, I have this as some f of 2. Okay, my f of minus 2, okay, my f of minus 2 will be the negative version of f of 2. That's the idea. Okay, f of minus 3 will be the negative version of f of 3. That's why f of minus x will be the negative version of f of x. All right, so using the origin, okay, the origin will be the reflecting point. All right, so this is where it reflects. So if you have a point here, it will reflect this way. Okay, about the origin, it reflects. If you have a point here, it will reflect about the origin this way. Are you guys getting this? What an odd function is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So y equal to x is an odd function. Why? Look at the graph. F of 1 is this 1. F of minus 1 is what? Minus of f of 1, which is 1. Okay. Which is minus 1. Sorry. Got this? It's an example. Y equal to x. Next, y equal to sine x is also an odd function. Think of it algebraically now. Okay. Whenever you have f of minus x equal to minus of f of x, you have an odd function. Okay. So what is sine of minus x? You already know that it is minus of sine x. The graph works out fine. All right. Are you getting this, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's an even function? Is f of minus x is equal to f of x itself. So basically, had this gone like this would have been an even function. Okay. Even function is where y-axis acts as a mirror. Got it? So odd function is not where x-axis acts as a mirror. Okay. Even function, y-axis acts as a mirror. Odd function, it's symmetric about the origin. All right. So it will be in the opposite quadrants. If there is something in the first quadrant, it will be in the third quadrant. If there was something in the fourth quadrant, there will be something in the second quadrant, not the third quadrant. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So even function also note it down separately. Like just similar notes you write. Whatever you wrote for odd function, write the same thing for even function. For that, for examples, you can use f of x equal to x squared. Okay. And f of x equal to cos x. Both you can use as even functions. Note this down quickly, and then try the next problem. Try the problem here. After you write the note, please try this problem. Give me a minute. Please try the problem properly, okay? And tell me how many solutions you're getting. Find the number of x's you're getting, or what range x lies in. Find that out. Is any progress?
Will it be found like the domain? Isn't that the question? The domain.
Aditi, I'm sorry, your voice is not very audible. Can you please speak louder or come closer to the mic?
Sir, isn't it like the domain find x satisfying?
Find x satisfying. Yes, yes, yes. It is something like the domain. It is something like domain only. Like what are the values of x that satisfies this? But there's another clue here also. F is an even function. So for f to be an even function, only certain points of x will satisfy this particular property. That's the idea. F is some even function. Certain values of x satisfy this particular property. It can be any even function. We're not even finding what the function is. You have to find the points of x which satisfy this. How do we go about that? That's the question. So what did you do? I think you're speaking on mute. Not able to hear you.
Oh, no, sir, I was actually just doing it. I equated,
Okay, you're trying.
I just substituted minus x into it and equated it to the positive.
Yes, yes,
I'm working.
yes.
That's
That
it.
is a method. That is a method. Correct, correct, correct. Look, if x satisfies f of x equal to f of x plus 1 by x plus 2, then it means that either x is equal to x plus 1 by x plus 2. This is the okay. This is the part I actually wanted you to forget. All right, this is the trick part. Then I also know that since it's an even function, f of minus x is equal to f of x. Got this? Hmm? So what is f of x here? F of x will be f of x plus 1 by x plus 2. So I'll just remove this conveniently. And then from here I can say that minus x can also be x plus 1 by x plus 2. That is also a possibility for that even function to exist. Okay. Hmm? Now,
Sir, uh, on solving the right side, I got x is equal to -3 plus or minus root 5 by 2.
we'll quickly solve this. I'm not sure either. Okay. I'll just quickly solve this. Minus x square minus 2x equal to x plus 1. You get x square plus 3x plus 1 equal to 0. So here it will be minus 3 plus or minus b square minus 4 so 9 minus 4ac by 2a. And here I get x square plus 2x equal to x plus 1. X square plus x minus 1 equal to 0. B minus 1 plus or minus root b square minus 4ac by yeah. Uh, Here you get minus 3 plus or minus root 5 by 2. Is that what you got? The right one?
Yes, sir, that's what I got for both.
Oh, for both you got.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Then
Yeah.
this is the answer. Right. Right. So how many options are there? How many solutions are there? How many values of x can that be satisfied? 4 values. Okay. And 4 values of x, this condition will be satisfied. Got it? Any doubts here, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
And let's move ahead to the next question. Let's quickly find if this function is odd, even, or neither odd nor even. Okay. I'll give one fancy looking function. Now you should not get scared looking at these functions. This is equal to minus 1. And then 1 plus x plus 1 minus x. X is between minus 1 and 1. And minus x mod x. Okay, find out if this function is an odd function or an even function. Do this. Quickly, guys, quickly do this. is modify the definition of the function would be my first rule. Okay, would be my only rule. Modify the definition of the function. Start with the first part. X less than or equal to -1. What can you do there?
Sir, is the answer between x less than or equal to -1 and then to minus infinity and x greater than or equal to 1 to infinity? I mean, between those intervals, it is an odd function, but -1 to between -1 and 1, it is an even function.
I don't think so,
Or
but we'll check. We'll check
okay,
that. I'm not sure. That's right. Okay. So minus x square would be when x is less than or equal to 1. Why is this happening? Because mod x is equal to x when x greater than 0, equal to 0, minus x when x less than 0. Okay. So x is less than or equal to -1. So mod x becomes minus x. Okay. So that's one part. And then you have below, you have minus of x into x itself. Okay. For x greater than or equal to 1. So this part is what you said that it is even. Huh?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now, here, 1 plus x plus 1 minus x. What do you do here? Between 1 and -1.
Sir, I just took values and substituted to check.
So, whenever you have an integer plus x, okay, to find greatest integral function, you can you can take the integer outside. Like this. Okay. All right. So, you can apply that here. You get, I'll break it into two parts. X is between, okay, so this part I laid as 1 plus gfx plus 1 minus gfx. Oh, sorry, 1 plus minus gfx. Yeah, that's how it goes. So now what happens? You get 2 plus gfx plus gf of minus x. Okay, so what do you know about? Okay, so this I write as 2 plus gfx plus gf of minus x. Okay, I don't know why I removed that part. That's the question. Okay, so this I write it as a subnote. Okay, do you understand where this came from? Okay, now between 1 and -1. Okay, how many integers are there between 1 and -1? Guys, does this look familiar? That's what I want you to say. Gf of x plus gf of minus x. Does that look familiar?
Yes, sir. If x is an integer, 0.
Okay, 0 when x is an integer. When x is not an integer, it is -1. Take an example like 0.5. Take 0.5. Gf of x is 0. Gf of minus x, which is gf of minus 0.5, will be -1. When you add them up, you get -1. All right. So that's the idea here. So you get -1. I think you get -1, 2 -1. Okay. 2 plus -1 when x is between -1 and 0. Okay. When x is between 1 and 0, it becomes again 2 minus 1 itself. When x is equal to 0, this becomes 0 and this value becomes 2 plus 0. Got it? You guys understand how I modified this function? The middle part could have been confusing, these three. If you want another explanation, please ask. If you didn't understand, please ask.
Yes, sir, I
Great.
got it.
Got it? Or you didn't get it? Please tell clearly.
Got it, I got it.
You got it. Okay. Others. Did you guys get it or not? The people in class not talking at all, and it's pretty disappointing, guys. Guys, any doubts here? Please ask. Okay, if you have doubts, please ask. Now, is this an odd function or even function? You guys tell me. Is this an odd function or an even function? Is this an odd function or even function? Guys,
Sir, it's odd.
hmm?
Is it odd, sir?
That's why I'm asking you. Is it like you guys can guess? Guess confidently, no problem. Whether it's wrong or right, only two options. Either it's odd or it's even. Oh no, actually there are three options. It's odd, it's even, it's neither odd nor even. Okay, these are the three options you have. Right.
Sir,
So,
Even, sir. Even.
okay. So if we try to draw the graph itself, okay, here it is the point 2. Okay, at the point 0, from 0 to 1 and minus 1, it will be 1. Okay, so this point 1 is not included, but everywhere else till here will be included. Okay. Now remaining everywhere else will be minus x square. So minus x square graph goes like this. Okay, minus x square graph goes like this. But we are interested in areas only between beyond minus 1 here and beyond 1 here. Okay, this graph, it is symmetric about the y-axis. Are you seeing it? All right. Here you can clearly see that f of minus x is equal to f of x only. Whatever is on the negative side is the same thing mirrored on the positive side. Are you getting this? Are you following or not?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's pretty frustrating. Okay, I can't even see your reactions. Will you please try to understand? It depends solely on your responses. Otherwise, I'll have to change my tone and talk in a very boring fashion. That's okay with you. All right, guys, please respond. Please be more active. Right now. Okay, let's look at periodic functions. Okay, sin x, cos x, tan x. Like this it goes. Okay, tan x. It is a horrible graph, but for sake of speed. Right. These are all periodic functions. Why are they called periodic functions?
Because they repeat over the same interval.
Exactly. So there is something called a basic unit here. Okay. We can define from where to where we want to take the basic unit. Suppose I want to start from here. Okay. So here, this much is there. Okay. So you define a basic unit. Okay. And then you control C, control V. That's the idea. You cut, copy, and then paste it to the sides. You get the same graph again. Are you following? You see this part, right? So I just copied across to this one section, and then I copy another section here. Control C, control V. Control C, control V. I control C, control V this side also. Okay. What am I getting? I'm actually getting the entire graph again. When I take that basic repeating unit and I copy paste it to the sides, I get the same graph again. All right. Can you tell me other periodic functions? Is g of x periodic function? G of x? You remember the graph of g of x?
Yes, sir.
Is this a periodic function, guys?
Yes, sir. It repeats over.
Hey, I need response from all of you.
Sir,
What
it
do
is,
you
sir.
think? Is it a repeating function or not? Is it a periodic function or not? You can reply in chat also if you're too shy to talk. It's fine. Srivatsan, are you listening?
Sir, I don't think it's a periodic function.
Okay. Siddharth, do you think it's a periodic function or not? Quickly, come on. Siddharth?
Can't say what.
Sorry, what?
Either periodic or not. I can't guess anything.
It's either periodic or not. Okay, okay, you're not sure. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's all right. Let's move ahead. Aditi, you said yes, right? You think it's a periodic function? Has your decision changed?
Yes, no, sir. I still
Okay,
think it is.
all right. Rahul?
Sir, I
Rahul?
think it's not periodic.
Hmm? I
It's
don't
not
think it's
periodic.
periodic. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Harish?
Sir, it's periodic, sir.
It's periodic. Okay. Sanjana?
I don't think it's periodic, sir.
I don't think it's periodic. Okay, okay. All right. Guys, half of you are actually right. It is not periodic. Okay. So when I told you control C, control V, right? I realized one thing. I didn't tell you where to paste it. Okay. So this would have been periodic had it been like this. Are you following? This is not periodic actually. You place it somewhere else. It's the same shape, but it's placed somewhere else here and there. Okay. Periodicity is defined this way, guys. F of x plus, let the period be t. Okay. Like period in the sense, this length, this unit. When you find a basic unit, okay, the length of the basic unit in sine, cos and all, it will be 2 pi. Okay, that is the basic repeating unit. So f of x plus t equal to f of x. All right. So in Jiffer function, can we do that? No. Okay, it doesn't repeat actually. The graph looks like it's a repeating function, but does it repeat? The same quantity should be at the same height everywhere else. Okay, that repeating unit. Just because the shape is the same doesn't mean you can place it anywhere you want and you'll get a repeating function. No. Okay. You find the basic repeating unit and then control C, control V at the same level. Getting it, guys? Okay. So is this a repeating function? F of x? No, it is not.
No, sir.
Okay. Those who said yes, I hope you guys understood why. That's the important part here. Okay. All right. So now let's look at fractional part function. Fractional part function goes like this. Is this? Okay. What about fractional part function? Is this a repeating? Is this periodic? Guys, one by one.
Yes, sir.
Same order. Come on. Start with Siddharth.
Yes, sir.
Is this periodic?
Periodic.
Okay. Rahul?
Periodic.
Aditi?
Sir, I think it's periodic, sir.
Harish?
Sir, it's periodic.
Sanjana?
Periodic, sir.
Srivatsan?
Periodic, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yes, it is periodic. All right. All of you understood this, that a fractional part of x is periodic. Now, can you tell me what is the period of this function? What is the period of this function?
Sir, the difference of the points on the x-axis at which the values are the fixed value.
Yeah, but what is the value of the period is what I'm asking. Anybody? Value of the period. What you said
0
is
to 1.
no. It will be a single look. Period. The value of period t. Okay. So look at it as time period. The length of smallest repeating unit. Okay. This is the length of smallest repeating unit. Please write notes much neater than what I'm writing. Okay. Right. So length of the smallest repeating unit. So if I take from 0 to 2, this is 1, this is 2. If I take from 0 to 2, I can see that this is also repeating everywhere. But is this the smallest repeating unit? No, it's not. Because within this, I have one repetition here only. So this is the smallest repeating unit. From 0 to 1 or from 1 to 2, if I take this quantity, okay, the length of that is the smallest repeating unit. And the length is how much? Length is a positive value. Length will be what? Here. length is equal to 1. Okay, guys? All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, I want all of you to unmute. Actually, please unmute. I need responses. This muting is not really helping. Okay, guys, please unmute. Harish, have you unmuted? Rahul?
Unmuted, sir.
Okay. Srivatsan, last man standing, huh?
Yes, sir, yes,
Thank you. All right. So, P is equal to 1 here, okay? So, talk along with me, it's fine. Okay, now, did you understand the idea of period here? Any doubts here, guys?
No, sir.
Oh, even if you unmute also, same effect. Huh? Okay, fine. Okay, thank you, Aditi, for responding. Now, f of x is periodic. Now, what we do is, we'll look at some results here. We'll look at some results. I want you all to write. Sin power nx, cos power nx, sec power nx, cosec power n. Second will be tan power nx. Third will be mod sin x, mod cos x, mod tan x, mod cot x, mod sec x, sec x. Fourth type. Algebraic functions. Root x, x square. Okay. Guys, these are the functions. And what I want from you is the period of these functions. Come on. If you have sin power nx, cos power nx, sec power nx, cosec power nx, they'll all have the same period. Okay. What will the period be?
Two pi. 2 pi radians.
Take sin x, cos x, you get 2 pi. No need for this thing here. You don't need to tell the unit and all properly. Okay. Sin will be 2 pi. It's radian by default. So you don't need to specially mention radian. Okay. If you're saying degree, then mention degrees. Okay. So sin, cos, sec, cosec will be 2 pi by default. You know the graphs, right? So you will take in the graph a basic repeating unit, which will be of 2 pi length. Just check the graph of sin x, cos x, sec x, and cosec x. You will get this in one go. All right. Now, what about sin square x? What will the graph of that be? From 0 to pi, it will be like this only. From pi to 2 pi, it won't be negative. It will be correspondingly positive, right? From 2 pi to 3 pi, it's this itself. From 3 pi to 4 pi, it won't be like this. It will be correspondingly positive. What happens to the period? Guys, what happens to the period if I do sin square?
It becomes 5.
Pi 2.
Becomes half. The period becomes half. The length just becomes half because the lower part goes to the upper part and becomes the same like the first part. Okay, understood? Like you have from 0 to pi, you have from pi to 2 pi. Okay, so sin x goes like this from 0 to pi, and from pi to 2 pi goes like this. So sin square will go something like this only, but sin square will never become negative. It will remain correspondingly positive. Okay, so you can see that the period is becoming half here. All right, so period was 2 pi here, period will be pi here. So same happens for cos square, sec square, and cosec square. Okay, there'll be no negative part, it'll be correspondingly positive. And when you fold it over, it'll become the same as the positive part itself. I hope all of you got this. So it'll be 2 pi when n is odd and pi when n is even. Because when you're looking at sine cube, again, the negative part can. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next. Tan raised to n, cot raised to nx. What happens here? Tan raised to nx and cot raised to nx will always be pi. Okay. All right, got this? Like tan will go like this. Okay. The graph goes like this. So this goes from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Just remember that it goes to minus infinity, it goes to plus infinity. Between those will be one basic repeating unit. So you take that and cut, copy, paste it everywhere. What happens if you square it? If you square it, what happens? Let's extend this graph. Okay. What is hanging? No. Yeah. Yeah. Guys, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many of you use this opportunity to mute? Let me check. Oh my God. Please unmute. Please unmute. Like it's just very, you're making it difficult for yourself to ask doubts. As simple as that. When you want to talk, that time just mute. When you want to talk where you don't need me to hear, that time alone mute. Okay, that's enough. All right. So tan raised to n x, cot raised to n x. If you're looking at tan square x, okay, you know that tan x goes something like this. So tan square x, what will happen? This part will remain roughly the same. Okay. This part will be folded over to the top. Okay. You can see that the period is still pi. This is still the basic repeating unit. This is what repeats over to the next sides. Okay. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tan raised to nx, cot raised to nx will always have pi. Now, what about mod sin x, mod cos x, mod tan x, and so on? What will the period of these be?
Sir, pi.
Exactly. Okay. Mod sin x, mod cos x, all of them act like sin square x, cos square x, tan square x, like t
Only
square x.
positive.
T is any trigonometric function. Yes, sorry.
Only positive values, just like this.
Only positive value. Yeah, exactly. Okay, just give me a second. Right. Okay. We're back now. Okay. So this will be pi. What about the next one? Pi minus g of x. Sorry, x minus g of x. What about x minus g of x? What happens there? Guys.
So is it 1? 1.
This is nothing but fractional part of x, which we already discussed right now. Okay. Remember that x is nothing but greatest integer part plus fractional part. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's look at algebraic functions. What about this? Root x. Think of the graph. Root x goes Root of 0 is 0, root of 1 is 1, root of 4 is 2. So like that it goes on like this. Root x goes like this. X square goes like this. X cube goes like this. What about these functions? They are not periodic. Okay, they are called aperiodic. What about the period of these functions? No. Period does not exist. Okay. All right. So you can imagine a straight line like this. Okay. Like a straight line parallel to the x-axis. Such a thing can be theorized to have a period of 0. A line parallel to the x-axis. It keeps repeating at every point. Right? That's the idea. Okay. So there you can say period tends to 0, but nowhere else. Okay. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, yeah. We'll do questions based on periodicity next class. Okay. Right. And then finish the chapter off. We've been dwelling on this chapter for too long. But then this is one of the basic chapters. If you get a good idea of this, like calculus will be easier. And hopefully conics will also be easier through this. Right. Okay, guys. So,
Okay.
if you have any doubts regarding this session, please ask.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No doubts? Okay, then that's it. At the end of the class, thank you for joining. But guys, make sure you guys practice, please. The responses, the level of responses are pretty bad right now because it's been a while since I started teaching you, right? You've done around 6 classes,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I expect, look, the only one who's responding is the one who's saying yes, sir, right now. Okay. So, guys, the rest of you, I want you to respond more actively. Okay, then only this class can be productive for either of us. Okay, because when you ask doubts, you might tell me something I didn't think about while speaking. And we can dwell on that. We can clarify it because it will be a doubt some other kid would have, or even I would have. All right. So please ask doubts. Let's make this productive. That's the point of doing this. If you want to listen to someone just tell the topic, you can go to YouTube and watch. Okay, I am here so that I can clear your doubts as well, not just teach you theory. Okay. Supposed to be a class one-on-one. Right. So please ask doubts, clarify. It's not like I know everything and I'll answer every doubt you ask. No. Okay. There will be points where I don't know the doubts you're asking. But the point is, I will get back to you with the answer. All right. Okay, guys. So please start asking your queries. Like I need a little more energetic attitude next class on. All right. So I'm just ending this class early today. But next class onwards, I expect a more solid response from your side. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
guys. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Bye, guys.